The world is in conflict. We are hearing about them through media, mainstream media, our social media, and other channels, whatever you follow. We know what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. We know what is happening at West Bank.
Or the West Bank.
We know what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening between Iran and Israel.
Those negotiations didn't materialize.
There is a lot of news floating, but something which is very rarely spoken about is the United Nations peacekeeping missions. The focus of my podcast today is to bring out stories and topics around United Nations peacekeeping missions. They're very less spoken about. Nobody discusses them much, not even the mainstream media. While India is one of the top 5 contributing countries in these missions. My guest today is Major General AK Bardalai, who is an expert in this subject and has a lot of valuable information to share with us. We are going to be talking about the Ukraine issue. We're going to be talking about Israel. We're going to be talking about Iran and more. I would want you to sit down, tune into this podcast, watch it till the end, make your notes and enjoy. Click on the link on Arun Bhagwati Chronicles and watch the entire episode. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I am so glad, Major General AK Bardalai, you've come to my studio in Dehradun. I am honored that you accepted my invite, sir. I have been interacting with a lot of army officers in the last couple of months, and in fact, the last 5 years that I've been producing podcasts and I have been, doing podcasts. I've met a whole lot of guests. I was really looking forward to seeing you at my studio because you're like a encyclopedia of knowledge, especially when it comes to the United Nations peacekeeping operations. We do not get to hear or see too many stories either on YouTube or online. And the ones that are available online, most of them have your name on it because you've written those articles. And they are fantastic articles. The last one that you sent me, sir, I haven't been able to read it. I will be reading it very soon. I want to jump right into our conversation. My first question to you, sir, is a very basic question, which is essentially for our audience. Can you please help our audience understand the role of the United Nations peacekeeping missions globally?
Yeah, actually, there's no fixed definition for UN peacekeeping. But I have to go back a little bit to the history.
Sure.
So, United Nations itself was created or born to replace the League of the Nations.
Okay.
The League failed. So, United Nations is established based on one is that Westphalian concept. Second is the League.
Okay.
As I said that when League failed, they're looking for some kind of international organizations.
So can you tell us a little bit about the League, just for reference, because a lot of people will not know.
The League of the Nation was there much before. During it, these were kind of, it's not a kind of organization like the UN actually. And many countries are not part of this thing. They did not contribute well. So it actually failed to prevent the World War II, to be honest.
Was it just a Western alliance?
Mostly it is Western alliance. So most of the things, this is also you will come to know, although it is UN, 193 members are there. But you will find that the Western supremacy is very much evident in UN.
True.
I'll come to that. So what is based on Westphalian society concept is that the respect to the sovereignty. That is one part. Second was the League. So when you replace League, you are expected to do what League failed to do. So based on international laws, so UN was authorized even to use all necessary means to prevent any outbreak of conflict, also basically to restore international peace and security. That was
globally
to us. So, and basic document, it is a convention, or people can call it constitution, is a UN charter.
Okay.
This has got different articles. Charter was adopted on 15th of October 1945. That was by all countries and ratified. And this was adopted in 26 June 1945, the charter. And charter initially, the preamble and main duties, etc., is given initial articles of the charter itself. And the main, most important duty or the role of the UN Charter or United Nations, which is given out in the Charter, is that to take care of the threat to international peace and security.
Okay.
Now, threat to international peace and security can be, or it can come from any threat. It can come from terrorism. It can come from intrastate conflict, that is a conflict within the state or even between two states. And the organ, which is the most powerful organ, there are basically main 6 organs are there in UN. The most powerful organ is United Nations Security Council. And there are, as of now, 5 permanent members: USA, UK, France, China, and Russia.
Are we going to become a part of it soon, sir?
Well, India has been wanting to become permanent members of the Security Council for a long time. It's a difficult political process. Why I want you to give you the background is, this Western supremacy, or you may call it white supremacy, they dropped their anchor in the United Nations much before United Nations was born. Like I said, the UN Charter was accepted, ratified by 25th October 1945, that the day of UN was born. And it was accepted Charter was signed by 51 countries, San Francisco, that is on 26th June of 1945. But beauty is that the drafting of Charter took place in 1944. Okay. There is a place known as Dumpton Oaken near Washington. These powerful countries, basically USA, Russia, I think President was Roosevelt, I think Stalin was there, UK Prime Minister was there, and China that time, ROC was there. France was not part of it that time because they said they're not making up the mind. So they decided the main provision, most powerful provision of the UN Charter, that nothing can happen without approval of the permanent 5 members. They can veto. In fact, amendment to the Charter, special reference to suppose anyone, if somebody wants to become a part of the permanent member of the Security Council, even if all 93 members agrees, finally it has to go back to the Security Council, and one of these 5 members can veto the resolution, then you are out.
One single member.
One single
veto
member,
power.
Veto power is there. So it is very difficult process. But nonetheless, India has been trying. But my take on the subject is slightly different. That as I see that the way the conflict is evolving, maybe I'm jumping to and fro. I hope you don't mind.
That's okay, sir. I mean, I just wanted to
fine
with the
I'm going to the background a little bit. What has happened is that, I'll go back a little bit in time. That the peacekeeping, you asked me that question.
the role of peacekeeping.
Now, what happened that when a conflict takes place, it is brought to the notice of the Security Council. It doesn't have to that it has to be brought to notice to the Security Council by outsiders. They can take note of that, then decide how the threat to be addressed. And if the Security Council, positive vote of the 5 members, decide that there is a peacekeeping mission is required, the first challenge, obstacle is crossed that they can mount the peacekeeping operations in principle approval.
Anywhere in the globe.
Anywhere in the global means again politics. You see, since it is controlled by these 5 permanent members, I would say that they will allow the peacekeeping missions to get deployed wherever they want.
Okay.
If it doesn't interest them, they will not do it. If this genocide is taking place in Rwanda, they don't care because people from other than Europe or Western nations are, I bracket them at others. Their life do not matter to them. They will not do it. When Rwanda genocide took place, even Wilson was there. USA even refused to accept it officially as a genocide.
Was it the same with Uganda and Somalia as well?
No, they do it, but Somalia was a different case. But Rwanda was because Somalia, geopolitics also come to play. Middle East is different. Horn of Africa is different. Rwanda is slightly far away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it did not impact the strategic interest as much as the way the situation is developing in Middle East will impact them. So that is the politics part.
Okay.
That's the first challenge. Say, for example, that they have been able to cross the first hurdle. Now, United Nations does not have any permanent troops directly under command of UN headquarters.
Okay.
They don't have.
Okay.
So, incidentally, when the charter was drafted, the idea of to create a permanent UN force was thought of. And it was, you'll be surprised to know that it was United States of America who pledged 40,000 troops. They said, we'll keep it directly under command, not control of United Nations. But because of the superpower rivalry that time, it did not see the daylight. But now as it stands, that even if Security Council approves a peacekeeping mission, second hurdle starts. UN Secretariat, the Secretary General, have to approach the member states.
Individually,
collectively, they said that now there is a peacekeeping mission has been approved. Who are the countries who would like to contribute the troops?
Okay.
Again, the countries who contribute the troops, they place their troops only under operational control.
What does this mean, operational control, in this case?
Operational control is only if they can be deployed only for the operationally. You continue to hold, they can be only used operationally by the UN.
Okay.
Operationally.
Okay.
Final command, ownership still remains with the country.
Okay.
That means you remain hostess to the whims and fancies of troop contributing countries. That is the reason now why I want to bring out this point is that now when obviously peacekeeping missions are deployed in a conflict zone, there are challenges. They can be depending on the kind of violences or the very vicious violence, mostly in Africa, interested countries. There's a threat to peacekeepers also. Now, peacekeepers are supposed to basically, but again, one more thing, that before a peacekeeping mission is deployed, normally it follows that after a peace agreement has been concluded between the warring parties to the conflict.
Okay.
When they agree to sign a peace agreement, that means they agree that there are other ways to end the conflict instead of using the guns or the violence. And they also agree that some neutral force or international force can be deployed in the conflict zone so that peace can come back.
As an intervention.
But point is that the signing the peace agreement means they have agreed.
Okay.
They have given the consent. That part.
Okay.
The first is the consent part. You can intervene without the consent also. That comes under what had happened in Serbia, Bosnia. It can happen like that. But success stories are very limited. So consent is the very, very important part that they give consent. Then the peace agreement, consent, Security Council, the troop contributing countries. Now challenges are not over. Once you start getting deployed, the numerous operational challenges. I don't want to go into so many details. One challenge is that troop contributing countries issue national caveats. Because your troops are in the conflict zones, your troops may die. And no troop contributing countries want to carry the body bags of the soldiers home.
Why is that, sir?
People may question them. Domestically, it is not acceptable. I remember you would have heard about Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone operation in 2000, and there was a film documentary made by journalist Syed Naqvi. He screened it at International Center. And I was present because those days I was a colonel. I was looking after the UN Peacekeeping missions of Indian Army. RM was also present. RM was George Fernandez was. RM. And after the very good, excellent documentary movie, and end of the movie, one old lady caught up. I don't remember her name. She asked, Honorable Raksha Mantri, I want to ask you a question. What is the strategic interest India has got far away from the homeland in Africa and Sierra Leone that we have to sacrifice our soldiers?
Did she lose a family member?
Not she. As a citizen, she asked this question. Why didn't 2-3 soldiers were lost? Situation was bad. But he was very honest, RM. He said, honestly speaking, madam, I did not look into it. But I'll go back and look into it.
This is a very powerful question, actually.
Very powerful. That's true. So it always remains in the mind of the troop contributing countries whether they should participate in the peacekeeping missions or not. Nobody considers publicly, you ask any troop contributing country, they will always say, we were thinking of global peace. But nobody thinks of global peace. They think of strategic interest. Whether they should participate or not, they could have economic interest. What benefit they will get. Because they look back, if the people come back with body bags, that is the negative effect of the body bags may impact on the domestic constituencies. You have seen in Vietnam War what had happened.
Absolutely.
So they are very careful. They issue national caveats. So the peacekeeping missions are deployed. The mandate and the Security Council, when they approve the peacekeeping mission, they give out the mandate. What task can be ceasefire verification missions, supervision. There could be disarmament of the demobilized soldiers, or in some cases that the protection of the civilians. Because in any conflict, the people who suffer the most are the civilian population too. And most vulnerable community is women and children.
Yes.
So protection of civilian has become one of the main element of all the mandates of all the peacekeeping missions nowadays. That is a big challenge. That means if the peacekeeping mission is unable to protect the civilians of the country which is amid a conflict, that becomes a barometer of success of the peacekeeping operations. And that is the reason there was a mission in Mali, huge mission. India did not participate. Finally, they said that, I said connected now what I said, consent. The consent can be withdrawn.
Okay,
consent can be withdrawn. So they said, we have called you, we expected you, it is given in black and white to protect our civilians. You are unable to do that. There are different reasons. I mean, there are times that can be beyond the capability of the peacekeepers. Whatever reasons it is, the host nation says, you have not been able to protect our civilians. We do not need you anymore. We'll find other means to protect our population.
So I have a question here.
Yeah.
The conflict in Mali, was it a provoked conflict?
No, Mali was you see, I'll tell you, all conflict, I am referring to internal conflict, when the people rise, maybe with arms or without arms, there's always a noble cause, some legitimate demand. You would think of India, outside India, always a beginning, always a noble cause. But when it is delayed, there's a root cause to the conflict. When it is delayed, what happened? The conflict is hijacked. So Mali conflict started with another group, Tuaregs rebels. They thought they did not get the due rights. They started with some rebellion arm movement. It could have been controlled, but it was not addressed properly.
It just went out of control.
And slowly what happened, the jihadi elements, affiliated to Al-Qaeda, they came from north, Libya, Morocco, that side, and they jumped into it. So the conflict took a different turn. Now it is presently Malian government is actually fighting the Islamist jihadi elements. There is a big threat.
That's why I said that, was it provoked?
You can say it is provoked. I cannot say that any other country has provoked. It will be wrong. It was your lack of sensitivity or not being able to address the root cause of the conflict on time. Provoked it.
Sparked it off.
That is a correct word. Sparked it off. So all conflicts are like that. You go to any country, any conflict, there's always a root cause. It could be economic reasons. It could be anything. But after some time, it get hijacked. All conflicts, mostly internal conflicts, to survive, they need a cause, they need money, they need external support, and they need local population. Look at our insurgency inside our country. You always find the outside head is always there. They are waiting outside the other side of the fence. They will jump into it. Politics,
I know.
So Mali, when they failed, they said, you leave our country. Because they expected MINUSMA, the mission name was, to fight the terrorists. But UN was clear that we cannot fight terrorism. Even said peacekeeping mission cannot fight terrorism. That is one part. Second part, you see, local population was suffering. They are not interested. What is written in a mandate? When they see international peacekeepers flying blue flag, wearing blue helmet, to them, they are the angels of peace. Protectors. They are not interested. They said, we don't care. And if they're hungry, they will end up with the nearest peacekeeping mission's base. If they need protection, they will rush to the nearest peacekeeping base. They need medical treatment, they will land up the nearest peacekeeping base.
That's sad, sir.
That's sad. This is the expectation of the local population. And you cannot tell them, you cannot quote them what does UN means, what does the Security Council resolution means, what are the legal implications, what the charter means. They are not interested. They need only one. You protect us. That's why most of the conflict where peacekeeping missions are deployed now, your protection of the civilians have become the barometer of success
and priority.
But again, this is the responsibility of the host nation, protection of the civilian, and not the responsibility of the UN. But again, to the civilian population, we don't care. You have come here to protect us. Don't tell us that this is not your responsibility. This may be your objective. Don't tell us its legal implication. Don't try to, give us different interpretation of what the mandate says. We need protection. So there are times when civilian population rise against the UN peacekeepers. The host government also make use of it. If they want the peacekeeping missions to exit.
Is that what had happened in Sierra Leone as well?
No, in Mali it had happened.
No, I'm saying, is this something similar that had happened in Sierra Leone?
No, it is no. Sierra Leone was a different case.
Okay.
Sierra Leone was, of course, it was fighting of the host government and RUF rebels.
Rebels, yeah.
Fighting was going on, and peacekeeping mission was there, and they started fighting. It was a big, very complex issues. They had actually surrounded in Sierra Leone on a huge company. An Indian company was there, surrounded. Not the people say that, news. If you read the newspaper, they will say they have taken Indian company hostage. It is not so.
Yeah.
They surrounded them in a sense, very difficult to move around and all. Then yes, they had taken about 10 peacekeepers as a hostage. Our diplomats and our highest ranking military officers, generals had gone there. They had negotiated them. Once those unarmed observers were released, then what happened? Then a proper military operation was launched, not by India. It's a Sierra Leone peacekeeping missions. And it happened to be that the force commander was Indian force commander.
Okay.
And the lead elements of the operation was Indian troops. They could break the siege. They made a lot of difference. But what happened, if you read book stories, you will feel that RUF rebels were defeated because of British support. I'll tell you what truth is. There only one unarmed military observer of UK. I think his name is Major Harrison or something, I don't recall. Only one. And the military support was only 2 Chinook helicopters.
That's it.
And these 2 Chinook helicopters were requested by the peacekeeping missions. If your nearby area is there, they willingly gave it. And that military observer, he had a satellite phone and he knew before everyone that 2 Chinook helicopters are coming.
Oh.
They were preparing a ground. People thought that they're creating a helipad ground. Actually, they're preparing helipad. And he knew. He said that 2 Chinook helicopters are coming. So 2 Chinook helicopters flew in. That military observers and other military observers were picked up to a safe place. But if you read news, you will know where you will find
this mention.
Yeah, this is our fault.
So I'm going to ask you something here.
Yeah.
It's a query.
Yeah.
Is it true that India has the largest number of UN peacekeeping soldiers across the globe in numbers?
No, I think current is India, is a 3rd or 4th largest,
Okay, who's number 1?
I don't remember. It will be number 1 be Bangladesh, Indonesia, Pakistan, Nigeria, something like that.
Okay. What is the number in numbers? Would you know how many of our soldiers?
Our soldiers are presently about more than 5,000.
Okay,
more than 5,000.
I have a question that over here, which is that what has India's role been in the United Nations peacekeeping operations, and why don't we get to know about any of these stories? The media doesn't cover it enough. The internet doesn't seem to cover it enough. Why? Why don't we hear about our soldiers overseas?
Okay, to answer that, I'll have to ask you 2 questions to you.
I might not know the answer.
No, you'll know the answer. Tell me, you and I were born after 1947. Am I correct?
Yes.
We know as much, we accept it, how much the freedom fighter actually fought.
Yes.
Because we read, we have seen movies. But tell me, can yours and my feeling can be same as the people who actually took part in freedom struggle?
Oh, no.
No way?
Not at all.
So, my second question is, do you agree that we got the freedom in a plate?
On a platter, sir.
On a platter. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
So, our feeling is not as much. We have not earned.
Yes.
We cannot be as emotional. You discuss with your father what he had undergone during his younger days, what kind of schooling he had done. And if he tells you some stories, you may not be interested.
My grandfather used to do that. He used to tear up.
But he'll tear emotional, coming from the heart. But maybe you will listen to him because grandfather is telling you, but you may not be as interested as you should be. Am I correct?
True.
So, present generation of India, that is one, they may not be interested in peacekeeping. They may not be, tell me about in our own country, which is the state most concerned and I'll tell you pay maximum respect to Indian armed forces. Punjab? Am I correct? Can you find the same thing in central India and South India or any place like Gujarat and all?
I've seen a little bit in Darjeeling, that's it, but that's it.
That's all.
Mm.
You understand that?
Yeah.
And what happens, there's a saying that a person remembers God, doctor, and military only the time of crisis.
Yeah.
So peacekeepers give them nothing. They don't even know, they're not interested. You take sports, which is a national game. Hockey.
Hmm.
When the cricket, when there's a cricket championship with cricket, the World Cup cricket or this IPL league, I think people will take leave. They'll bunk school, colleges. Am I correct? Offices, they will not go. The support, the population support is so important. Have you seen similar support for hockey?
Not a single other sport.
Not. Why do you expect them to give you victory? No. So that is one part, a population. They do not know peacekeeping, what is it? Not bothered, not interested. But I have seen in Sierra Leone, when there was a problem, our own soldiers, because of the conflict, they did not get the pay for months together. Then they did not receive letters until I think one of the newspaper brought it out. And special Indian Air Force aircraft was flown in with pay allowance of the troops. It became news stories. Journalists landed up in army headquarters. They are asking, they also wanted to go by, travel by the same aircraft. Syed Naqvi made a film documentary. But after Indian contingent came out of Sierra Leone, that's the end of the story.
See, that is...
No, one more.
Hmm.
I mean, to it. Sure. Then, sorry, I have not answered you directly.
No.
But you have understood.
I did.
Second is that I don't think it is a priority of India.
That's where my conflict
is. It is not priority.
Why?
I don't have that answer for that, because answer to that question, because, I mean, our government contributing the peace with troops, they certainly make use of, more than hundreds of peacekeepers, Indian peacekeepers died. I mean, total about more than 1,003 Indian international peacekeepers died so far. Out of that, India, I think, 1,003 or 400 peacekeepers would have died. They will always thumb the table that we are one of the largest troop contributing countries. We have made supreme sacrifices. So we have the right to have the permanent seat at the high table. That they will do that, man. But there are much more required than your beyond troop contributions. Like, for instance, you ask me why people don't come to know. If today Indian government asked the media that we want you to cover peacekeeping operations, entire all national mainstream media will cover it. Can they survive without government support? No. You understand what I'm going to say?
Absolutely.
They cover it. Our entire, I think, whole India, whole entire country will come to know. Entire population of the country will come to know about it. So this is not in the priority list. And what happened, like I said about, unfortunately what happened, most of the peacekeeping operations are taking place in most difficult conflict areas. intrastate conflicts, the conflict within the country, like for example, South Sudan, DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, it is in Central African Republic. Earlier it was in Mali. And you will find the contribution of the Western nations are very, very limited. They do not take part.
That's another part I wanted to ask you.
They do not take part, but they control everything. They contribute, they create the narrative. They create the narrative. All the policies, main policy documents of the United Nations, when they want to something, the biggest well-known think tanks which deal with conflict or peacekeeping missions are in and around New York.
I want to say something here. So this is how I have felt, or I have, through my very limited research. They are the ones who call the shots. They are the ones who create the conflict. And then they expect the other countries to come in, intervene in these peacekeeping missions.
Yes.
This is how I have perceived it. Is it true?
You're absolutely correct, Plus, what happens that they are always business oriented.
Yeah.
And any conflict where it takes place, you take the example of DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. Eastern DRC is full of violence, most difficult, but maximum mineral resources are there.
Yeah.
In DRC.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
I really do not know. Now, slowly and slowly what happened, governments become party to the conflict. They also want the conflict to continue. They get funding in the name of peacekeeping missions, take up donations. Then they also take advantage of the situations. So many parties to the conflicts are there. So many external powers are involved there. So I really do not know if Western powers are really interested to bring an end to a conflict. I have my doubt.
Exactly.
Because their arms industry also flourishes.
It's like a loop.
It is a big loop. You see, today, tell me, in the Gaza war is going on, Middle East, Israel is getting a lot of weapons, latest weapons and technology, mostly from Americans, maybe from Europe also. They're not getting it free.
No.
Obviously, somebody is benefiting it. Only thing is that these countries also know to calculate that maybe we should not start making so much of profit that it goes out of the hand. Something like today, as long as Middle East conflict is going on as it is, I think it helps the Western powers. But if it crosses the limit, red line, if it becomes a regional conflict, it may become a third war. Then it might not help anyone. It will not help anyone, any Western power. Americans are the biggest supporter of Israel. That's why Israel can ignore the Security Council resolution, which is supposed to be legally binding.
They ban United Nations.
No, you see, they have declared UN Secretary General, I think persona non grata or something it is called, it's his status. They said, we don't recognize him anymore.
Yeah.
Just see, and by the way, the Security Council resolution is legally binding.
Okay.
Is legally binding because it's based on the UN Charter.
So if anything goes sideways, it goes to the International Court of Justice.
Goes. That means you're supposed to enforce it. But point is that the powerful nations ignore it simply. They will not bother.
They made a circus out of it.
Made a circus out of it. You see, people keep saying Security Council. You search anywhere, you'll find Security Council resolution is legally binding, but resolution by the General Assembly is not legally binding.
Why?
recommendation. It comes in form of recommendation. But Security Council resolution is not legally binding. So you see what happens that in a country, there's a laws. If you violate, there's an enforcement agency to enforce the law. They can arrest you. You would be tried. You can go behind bars. But who can enforce the legally binding Security Council resolution in the Middle East? If you want to enforce it, the Security Council resolution, that there must be a ceasefire, that Israel must respect ceasefire in Middle East, who will enforce it? Like I said, UN does not have any force directly under command. So basically, international community has to agree to contribute troops to enforce the Security Council resolution. That may mean fighting. That may mean the conflict going out of control. And this is not in the interest of anyone. Second part, troop contributing countries will not like to send their troops.
Yeah.
Because of political interest. Do you think India will send troops? No. So it is a very complex question.
This looks like a very well-designed business machine to me. I'm sorry to use this word.
I said that white supremacy or the Western supremacy took roots before UN was. I'll give you another example. I said that in the conference in San Francisco, the 51 countries signed the charter. So it had to go back to the 51 countries by the due process of the respective countries. This has to be approved by the government. So it was finally ratified on 15 October 1945. Now between June and October, I think 6th August or 6th or 7th August, USA dropped
bombs,
atom bombs.
Yeah.
My point is, what I'm trying to link it, I'm not saying that USA intentionally did that to snow. Maybe. But point is that while USA was the lead, I think they was the lead country to create UN. Roosevelt first, then Truman was there. They are the one lead negotiator. But while the negotiation was going on, they had the power to ignore. I'm trying to say that they had the power to ignore.
That's really...
they did not intend to do that. By my point is that they had the power to ignore that. That is called supremacy. The supremacy is still there. You just cannot break it. Russia invaded Ukraine.
The next question was exactly this. So that means United Nations has actually failed even in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It has completely failed. I mean, like, what we see in the news, what we hear is not a success story. I mean, what is your take on this?
You are correct. What happened that in past couple of years, there has been a dent in the sense, in the role of United Nations in general, and especially when it comes to peacekeeping operations that I spoke about. When it comes to peacekeeping operations, for its inability to protect the civilians. There are again different stories. I can keep continuing, But the first part, what you asked me, as the highest international organization, which is based on international laws, failed to prevent the US and Ukraine war.
Russia and Ukraine.
Sorry, I think Russia Ukraine war. American, the US name comes to me very frequently. It's very so.
I understand because they're involved everywhere.
Yeah, Russian-Ukraine war. Now, in case of Gaza, same thing. But I'll give it a positive part.
Okay.
That while they have failed, okay, this. Do you remember the date when actually Russia invaded Ukraine? I think 22nd February.
22nd Feb. 22nd, 23rd Feb.
21, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
21, okay. 21 or 22? 21, I think.
22, sir.
22, okay. Sorry, I'm mixing.
No, that's okay. So there are too many conflicts already happening. So it's...
Now, that's writing on the walls was very clear even 1 year before that Russia is going to invade Ukraine.
Really?
Yeah. Exactly 1 year before, Russian dropped paratroopers outside Ukraine border.
It was the Crimea...
No, not that.
They followed the same blueprint, did they?
Not exactly same follow. Yeah, we can say.
Similar.
I'll tell you what happened. There was a man, the chairman of the largest alliance of the opposition groups inside Ukraine. His name was Medvedchuk. He had large media house, very rich man. And incidentally, Russian President Vladimir Putin was or is his daughter's godfather.
Oh.
That connection is there, obviously. So what the Zelensky did was, firstly, they seized his assets, took down his media, and put him in the house arrest.
Okay.
With a tracker around his ankle. Day it had happened, next day Russian dropped paratroopers. That is one part. I'm not saying that was the
only one.
Only one. Okay, I think the very next day. Now, I just fail to understand the 1 year was not enough for the international community. Forget about UN. To prevent Russia invading Ukraine. Because Americans and Western nations have been instigating Ukrainians. Americans are very far away across Atlantic.
True.
Okay.
Europeans are right there.
Right there. Okay. They are supporting them. So I don't believe that I think it's good. All Russia, I'm not talking on behalf of Russia. All Russia wanted, you will not be part of the NATO.
Yeah.
Ukraine says that we want security guarantee. I'm sure that international community would have found ways and means to assuring both of them. They fail. So why talk of UN? United Nations is what the member states make of it.
Yes.
And leaders of the member states are Americans, Russians, French people, Britishers, and China. Yeah, Arun, we are talking about Ukraine. So I don't believe that international community could not have stopped Russians invading Ukraine.
Very true.
Because people are interested, you see.
Very true.
And people who are suffering the most, Russians, Ukrainians, and Europeans. Okay. That is one part. But I'm sure that, I don't know when, they will be tired of the war and they will have some kind of agreement. I cannot say what kind of agreement. No country wants a regional war. The country which, because, economic resources, the geopolitical imbalance, and at the same time, I think they want to take care of certain elements. True. For instance, US are never like Iran.
Yeah.
Israel is never like Iran. I mean, you listen to anyone or read any foreign policy expert, everybody will say Israel's Prime Minister's sole aim is to draw US to the conflict so that the USA is forced to take down Iran.
So I am going to add something over here which might be a very bold statement and too early to make a bold statement like this. But again, this is something that I'm quoting someone who has been on my podcast earlier. There is a gentleman by the name of Aleksandr Dugin. You must have heard of him. They call him Vladimir Putin's guru. The various terms they use for him. And because I have a little bit of interest, I don't know as much as you, but I think a greater Israel is going to be born. And this is what Aleksandr Dugin has also predicted.
I cannot commit on that. I really cannot commit. It can go to either directions. You see, like for example, Israel is aiming that they will finish up Hamas.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. Hamas is based on an ideology.
It's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Israel wants to destroy Hezbollah. You cannot do that. It is based on an ideology.
True.
Okay. And they are surviving based on ideology and external support. So basically, I look at it, why, since you are talking about this ideology, Hamas and Hezbollah, I will deflect it a little bit. That, the latest is that Israel has come inside South Lebanon.
That was exactly my next question. Can you tell me a little about this, sir?
Yeah. You see, what happened that Israel invaded, in a South Lebanon or Lebanon is connected to the Palestinian issues. Basically, the conflict between Israel and Lebanon, or within bracket Lebanon, you can say Hezbollah, basically.
True.
Connected to Palestinian issue. The first time when Israel invaded Lebanon, it went right up to Beirut because Palestinians or terrorists were forced out of Jordan. They came inside Lebanon and they started attacking, carried out cross-border raids inside Israel. So 2-3 wars that they have come twice. The latest, biggest war was in 2006.
Yeah.
Between Israel and Hezbollah. That is not because of the Palestinian cause. That is because Israel or Hezbollah, I think, raided IDF soldiers and pulled across 2 soldiers. So the big war took place that continued for over 34 days. Right? And after some time, the war ended with a Security Council Resolution 1701 and with the current avatar or form of the UNIFIL came into being. But now, Israel has been making statements that they want to cut off the head of the octopus.
Yeah.
They call it Iran. So why I feel that if you're following this, the way this conflict is, which direction the conflict is taking, as long as Israel was IDF, that the Israeli Defense Forces was more focused in Gaza, Iran got involved indirectly, but not as much as it has done after Israelis or IDF came inside South Lebanon.
Okay.
That is because Houthis in Yemen, Hamas, they are Sunnis, and Hezbollahs are Shias. Ideology same as Iranians. So I would say that all 3 are adopted children of Iran.
Well,
among them 3 adopted children, I think Hezbollah is more closer to Iran.
Yeah.
So moment came inside Lebanon, Iran response have become more violent and stronger.
I think, sir, adding to what you're saying, what started in 2006, which ended with a resolution, they ended the war, the 34-day war, but the conflict never ended.
Conflict will never end. You see, firstly begin with, if you remember 82, Hezbollah attacked US Marine barrack in Beirut. A lot of soldiers died. Do you think US will forget? It will not forget. Second thing, a very interesting point since you talked about 1701. When in 2006 war began, Israel invaded Lebanon. I think it started on 12th of July.
Something like that.
Discussions on negotiation to end the conflict began very next day. Because concurrently at that time, a G8 summit was on. So world leaders were there. But beauty was there for 15 days. USA did not allow the negotiation to progress. It's not my word. At that time, US ambassador to UN John Bolton, later he was a national security advisor. He had gone public. If I read my article, you will come to know. He told BBC that we are happy that 15 days that we could scuttle the peace process. Because why? I think they wanted Israel to continue and take down Hezbollah. That is one part. When negotiations started moving ahead, what had happened was Israelis and Americans came up with a proposal that they want a multinational non-UN force.
Okay.
Multinational non-UN force under Chapter 7 that you can use force. Actually, you can use force under Chapter 6 also, self-defense. But Chapter 7 is more stronger. A kind of intervention force.
Yeah.
But what happened is that, like I said at the beginning, consent is very important. Lebanon did not agree. They said, no, Chapter 7 mission is not acceptable to us. It's politically not good for Lebanon. So finally, they had to find a compromise solution. A Chapter 6 mission, an UN peacekeeping mission, which was already there, UNIFIL, but a larger mission, authorizing about more than 16,000 troops, and troop contributing countries coming from everywhere, including from European nations like French, Spanish, and Italians. They're the only mission where they are taking part with the troops. So it was a compromise missions kind of things. But Israeli never liked it. They continue to blame UNIFIL. You see, mandate says, I'll briefly say, mandate says that UNIFIL in assistance role. They are supposed to assist. You are supposed to assist the government of Lebanon to ensure that South Lebanon, that area between Litani River and Blue Line, is free of all unauthorized armed elements other than Lebanese armed forces and United Nations peacekeeping force. We are supposed to assist them. That means lead responsibility of the Lebanese armed forces.
So what is happening now in South Lebanon?
Same thing. Now what is happening is that after Israelis, IDF came inside Lebanon, they have told that UNIFIL that you vacate. Immediately. But UNIFIL, all troop contributing countries decided we will not vacate, we will stay put there. So they are all inside bunkers. So they do not want anyone to remain on the observation towers. If the cameras are there, they take down cameras. At times, they fire artillery shells very near to the post, basically indirectly threatening them.
They are like sitting ducks, that means.
Sitting ducks, but they're inside the bunkers. But they take care that they're not directly, harmed in the sense. But, accidents can take place. Why they take care? Suppose the post is there, they will take care of the safety zone. Maybe they'll drop an artillery shell, maybe 150 meters away. So the troops are all bunkered. Their observation system is very good. They see that all troops are inside. They'll fire one artillery shell. And telling you that we are there, keeping them under control. Okay, they take care. But accident can take place, and that is not in the interest of Israel. Because if any peacekeepers become casualty, it will become a political issue.
Yeah.
You see, he doesn't want that. So this is the biggest political deterrence. You ask me if even he succeeded or not. I would say if UNIFIL was not there, I think they would have had a free run.
The story would have been totally different.
Second point you asked me, I'll tell you that UN has failed. Technically, if you look at purely from that point of view, they could not prevent or bring an end to Ukraine war. They fail. If they could not bring an end to Gaza war, they have failed. But I'll tell you another story. When the 7th October last year, when Hamas attacked Israel, entire international support was on the side of Israel.
Yeah.
Israel. Yeah. But today they changed. Except for Americans, maybe one or two Western countries, entire world opinion has changed from Israel's side to population of Gaza.
Yeah.
How it had happened? Because people have made use of the same platform of United Nations to raise their voice, make it as a public issue, creating public opinion. That is very important. Hoping that one day they will come under so much of pressure, including Americans. If Americans continue to come under public pressure, that they may indirectly tell Israelis that enough is enough, stop.
Yeah.
So that public pressure is very important. And this is what public pressure is not liked by Israelis. That is the reason Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared that even Secretary General, that what it is unheard of. And look at it.
Extreme measure.
And he has not left a single opportunity to make his point of view, same United Nations, whether it is General Assembly or in the meeting of the Security Council. He's shouting top of his voice, crying aloud, but he is saying that UN has failed. If you feel so strongly about UN that UN has failed, you do not want the UN Secretary General to come to your country. Why don't you leave the organization? Has he ever done that? No. Same is the case of Zelensky.
Yeah.
He has been visiting and he has been saying United Nations Security Council has become defunct. If he's so strongly about that, means from the heart of heart they want it. So if main aggressors, main parties in the conflict, they have not said that UN should be closed down or making use of it, do you call it United Nations failed completely? Or is there still some sense? Or another way of looking at is there an alternative organization? As of now, no. I think UN will remain. UN peacekeeping missions will remain, maybe in different form. It's not going to go away very soon.
I think BRICS rising is going to change.
Okay, since I will not call it BRICS, what happened that over a period of time, countries of the global south. Now, I don't want to define global south, no definition as such. So you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People are feeling that we are contributing most, we have not got a rightful demand.
Yeah.
The BRIC is one, collective voice. Although there are differences among the BRIC members, but I think I would say that the voice of the global south is becoming stronger and stronger.
So,
but what happens that, to answer your first question, that do you think how it is going to make difference to India if it becomes a permanent member? If I look at Gaza, how does it make any difference, even if you're a permanent member?
Yeah.
Does it make it? Because the main aggressor decided to defy the legally binding Security Council resolution. Why? It has got the support of the most powerful country of the world.
Yeah.
That means whether you are from inside Security Council or outside, as long as you are a powerful country or you have the support of a powerful nation, it doesn't matter whether you are. You see, the last Security Council resolution, USA allowed it to pass, but abstained. There's a difference between affirmative vote and abstention. Abstention, as I look at it, I allowed it to pass, but I don't have my heart.
Yeah.
Simple as
Half
that.
and half.
Half and half. So it doesn't make any. But only thing what is going to benefit India is that you are not part of the close discussion, decision-making process. If you are part of it, you will be, you may be able to influence the decision-making process. You may be. Plus, these 5 countries since 1945, they have the institutional memories.
BRICS versus UN. That is literally what I'm saying. Can you just tell me a little?
Okay, I will not talk about BRICS, because I am not an expert on that. What I am saying that today, UN is what? UN is member states making out of that. UN is good or bad because of the power is in the hand of the 5 nations. Okay, so even if India becomes, say, 6th member, 7th member, is it going to change? I don't think so. As long as the powerful nation continue to use the power, either from inside the Security Council or outside. Case in point is in Gaza. Security Council Resolution 2728 calling for immediate ceasefire in Gaza, Israel decided to defy because USA is supporting Israel. Then how do you change the power center? I think there must be an alternate power center, either more powerful or equally powerful centers.
Yeah.
So there has to be alliance of like-minded countries. Like, for example, people from Global South.
Yeah.
And China is, as it is, standing up. China doesn't like the unipolar world. BRICS may be one of the platforms. So I cannot talk about BRICS in platform. But like-minded countries think alike. And the power centers, alternative power centers, need not be militarily strong. I am not referring to that. Today, these countries are powerful both economically and militarily. Best is that they're not powerful either militarily or economically. I'm not asking that the military power should be destroyed. That cannot happen. But if you can create an alternate power center, become a combined economically stronger force with support of the armed forces to guarantee its security, I think the powerful nation will start listening to the Global South, and at that day, I think they will have to accept countries like India, Brazil, any African countries. They got to be part of the Security Council. Maybe that even entire system of the people are saying that Security Council must be reformed. What kind of reform take place, I really do not know. So I think there's a lot of structural changes can take place. So I look at it positively. One hand, thousands of people are dying. On the other hand, this is the opportunity for the people from the Global South and the world, to bring the conflict to an end as quickly as possible. And I think reform the United Nations for the good of the world.
And I think very rightly said, BRICS is going to be the answer.
I think so.
So I cannot thank you enough. And I cannot say this enough number of times that there has to be another podcast with you, because this time flew so fast. I just couldn't believe it. I'm going to travel this time and come to you. I will sit down with you with my team and crew. We're going to have this conversation, because the more I hear you, the lesser I feel I know about the world around me. You have been extremely insightful with your information and so accurate. I got more than what I was expecting. So a thank you from the bottom of my heart, sir, for joining my podcast. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to spending more time with you.
No, thank you, Arun. But I must say that I am not the last word in UN peacekeeping. Neither I am an expert, nor I am an encyclopedia, what you mentioned in the beginning. I said that after retirement, I have become a student of UN peacekeeping. Only thing I can say that maybe I am getting to be a better student day by day. And I am learning every day. Thank you so much. Nice being with you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much.